Yeah, so I've never really done any of these interviews before, but I've been listening to a lot of
Yeah.
podcasts lately, and it's been making me like I got to do an interview.
Well, it would have been nice if we gotten a few more people in on it, but I
Yeah,
guess
yeah, absolutely. Because that's what I was originally planning on doing, like that round table kind of
yeah.
discussion. But I guess we're just gonna go for a one-on-one discussion here.
This will be our test run.
Okay, so I guess I'll start with some questions. Let's get your background here. So just for people that may not know who you are, I'm sure everyone that watches my channel does already know who you are.
Well, I guess the background, I've been doing the cluster work. This will be my 10th year of focusing on GM instrument clusters. And before that, well, I mean, if you want to go back, I graduated technical college in 1997 or 98. It was kind of a half year. Well, I mean, if you really want to go back in high school, I did what was called a PSEO program, where you could start your college year in 12th grade. So I guess that's the beginning, but it's always been some sort of electronics one way or another for me.
Yeah,
Um,
so I guess I'll give my background also. So
mhm.
so yeah, I graduated from Chockahatchee High School here in Fort Walton Beach, and I grew up around electronics myself. My father and grandfather are both electrical engineers, so
But he's a software guy, isn't he?
yeah, he's a software guy, exactly. Yeah, yeah. So he went to the University of Florida to become a engineer, and then he went. I forgot what company he worked for at first, and they fired him because he couldn't solder. So he went and worked in the oil fields. Doing the
Mhm.
calculations for how much explosives to use, and then went and worked in the civil service for the Air Force. So he wasn't really. I tell people he's an electrical engineer, but it's really software was his thing. But I guess back when he was doing it, software engineers weren't a thing. So,
So like later on in his life, he went back to doing the software side of things and
uh,
programming.
well, so he retired when I was a kid. But so he's like me, where retired and at a very early age. But yeah, so he only did the software side of things really. So he only worked in the oil fields for a little while. It was just while he was trying to get into civil service, and then once he got into civil service, he helped develop a bunch of software for the military. So they did like all the war games in Europe. So like I have this tie that the Norwegian general that their Secretary of Defense gave to him for the war game and stuff. I always use that whenever I go out for anything fancy. That's the tie I wear because it always kind of sparks a question, discussion kind of thing.
I see. So that's how you kind of picked up on programming, Arduino software. It must have been your dad kind of set that seed
Yeah,
in.
yeah. So from an early age, he taught me True Basic and Fox Pro. So yeah, and his career was really on Fortran. He did everything in Fortran. And then that he had learned Basic and Fox Pro on
Mhm.
his spare time. So
Huh.
those were the languages I learned as a kid. I don't know any of them anymore. Like True Basic and all that. That's gone. It's gone from memory.
Yeah.
They still sell True Basic because I was interested. I was like, I want to play with this again. Let me play with True Basic. They want $600 for a copy of True Basic. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure it'd be like riding a bike. Once you get started, you'll kind of remember everything.
Yeah, but I did find that the version 2.5, which is actually what I learned on, is floating out on the internet for free. So,
There you go.
yeah. um, but yeah, so I forgot what the questions were. I'd emailed them from the community. We had some questions from
Yeah.
the community. We'll go through those, and then let me pull them up. Um,
Yep. I
uh,
remember one of them was how old I was.
yeah. Zach from GageWorks. He wants to know how old you are.
Well, I'm 42.
42.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'm
And
29 myself. So
yeah, I knew you were a little bit younger. And I'm partially, I like to think I'm retired.
yeah.
Well, I know one of the other questions is what was my other job,
Yes, that's right.
um,
That was the
which
other.
actually just came to an end just before Christmas this year.
Okay.
So for 22 years, I was a control panel technician for industrial pollution control
Okay.
equipment, and that side of the business recently closed up, but that was okay because, like I said, I'm on my 10th year of doing side work of GM clusters, and so that business is enough to keep us afloat.
Yeah.
So now I just recently am doing this full time.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. I wish I could get to having a business level of doing this full time because I really do enjoy doing this. Really, what I do full time is real estate. So I have rental properties, so that's my true full time thing. But it's all rental. So again, I don't really do any work there too. So I had to take a job at Target. I was getting depressed being at home all the time, and so I was like, okay, I gotta go get out of the house. So I unload trucks at Target right now. It's
Yeah, so
just
you're still kind of you were in Florida, and then you just recently moved back, right?
yeah. So this is I'm originally from Fort Walton
Yep.
Beach, and then I joined the military, and they put me in Valdosta, Georgia. Spent 7 years there, and then as soon as I got back, I came right back here. So
Yeah.
um,
So I bet once, I don't know how familiar with all your local shops and stuff, but I know just within like a 50-mile radius of me, just the local shops is enough to keep me busy every day. Just your little mom and pop garages and even places that tow, and it's every day that I hear from them. So I'm sure that kind of stuff has got to start to pick up for you too.
yeah, I need to go reach out to them. None of them know I exist here. I
Yeah.
haven't even reached out to them yet. That
You
is
don't
some
you don't really advertise, do you?
No. So the only advertising I do is I'll run a ad on Facebook Marketplace and just leave it there until it becomes so stale that nobody's responding anymore, and
Yeah.
then I'll renew it. I'll write a new one. But yeah, those that and when I say so stale, I mean that I'll leave that same ad up for 3 months because I still get enough emails and stuff that I don't I'm not trying to get too much bit more busy, but until I just figure everything out. But yeah, so
Well, I
that
started I started on Craigslist with getting the word out.
Craigslist is dead.
It is now, but yeah, when I started this 10 years ago, there was still it was still
Yeah.
used, but
When
but
it, when I when I first started 4 years ago, I was able. I guess it probably hasn't been 4 years yet. I think I'm at 3 years now.
mm,
But I did some ads on Craigslist, and I'd get one or two responses. So it did still work then, but now I
I see a
haven't.
lot of the older people use Craigslist for finding car parts. I think is still a little
Mm.
activity on that, but
Speaking of older people and car parts, I have not gone to a swap meet in a really long time. I imagine that would
yeah,
be a decent place to get some business to.
probably.
But I haven't gone to one in a really long time. But they're always really old people there. That's just what made me think of
Well,
that.
get some business cards made out and just hand them out to everyone you see driving a Silverado, and
Uh,
they always have friends that have similar trucks, and so
Yeah, funny story on that. Actually, I sold a freezer today, and the guy that came to buy the freezer showed up in a Silverado, and I was like, "Hey, does your instrument cluster have problems?" He goes, "Yeah." Hey, you came to the right place. Um, so
yeah, yeah. I kind of tell people sometimes if you have a Chevy truck of that generation, it either needs cluster work or it's already had cluster work done. There's not a whole lot in between, but
absolutely true.
not that they're purposely bad. It just seems to be kind of the way that the '03 to '06 generation is. Good trucks other than that, but
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Mine is for sale. So oh,
mhm.
that was the other. I remember the other community question. What do you drive? I
Oh
believe
yeah,
that was also from Zach at
that's right. That's
GageWorks.
right. Well, currently I drive Fords.
Fords. Okay.
I've only had one vehicle myself that had, the generation of clusters that we work on. I had an Impala a few years ago. That was a great car too. But recently, I drive Fords. I got a Ford Edge. I wanted something mid-size and all-wheel drive, and that's what I ended up with.
Okay. Yeah. So you know what I now drive too, but I'll tell everybody else.
Mhm.
I recently bought a Chevy Volt.
Oh,
And
that's right.
yeah, I love the car too. It's awesome. So I got a 2013 Chevy Volt. It's got 140,000 miles on it. So still got the original battery pack in it, and battery pack's still going strong.
Mhm.
So it's not showing any signs of degrading yet.
Yeah, I've
Um,
started to see them pop up in used car lots for reasonable prices. They're kind of tempting to pick up just as like a second vehicle, but
hmm And it's really great. So I've now had it for about a month, and I put gas in it when I first got it, just because I wanted to see how much gas fit in the tank. Because
Mhm.
it was at half a tank, so I filled it up. It has a 9 gallon gas tank, so a pretty small gas tank on there. But I haven't had to put any gas in since. But that's mostly because my commute to Target and back is less than the 38 miles on the battery. So
Yeah, that's one of the few cars that will start off with electric, right? Where it will use electric until it's
yep. Yep.
dead
So
and then
it's
switch to gas.
actually really weird driving down the street when the gas motor is running, because the gas motor is strictly a generator. So like you'll be stopped and it'll be like revved up generating.
I suppose, yeah.
Yeah. So it is kind of strange when the motor is running, like listening to that, just because the motor does its thing while you're driving down the street. The motor's not running the wheels. It's just a generator.
So is it
Um,
a four-cylinder?
Oh yeah. It's like two or sorry, it's like 1.4 liters. It's a
Okay.
tiny little engine. Yeah. 2 liter of Coke could fill it up
Yeah.
and over.
Is
Um,
it is a video coming soon on the car?
yeah, I'll probably do a video, a walk around video, and kind of. I think the way the keys program on it's really neat. You don't need a special tool for programming the keys, so you can just buy a key off Amazon, and you take your original key and you put it in the door and lock and unlock it 5 times. That puts it in the key program
Okay.
mode, and then you just go inside the car and stick the new key where it knows. Like there's like a little RFID area or something like that. I haven't pulled it off to see if it's NFC or RFID. I don't know how it's doing it, but yeah, you put the key there and then it just knows that key now and it works. So I wanted to do a video covering that because I thought that was a kind of neat feature. Um, it will eventually have a video also on repairing the passenger side seat. The airbag sensor's dead and it's super common problem on that car. Um, I guess they just get liquid damaged and die. It's fucking
Yeah,
expensive.
I see that here in the Minnesota area, the muddy boots and slop and stuff. Any computers that are under the seats usually get trashed in a few years.
Yeah.
But
So moving on from the community questions, I just wrote down some stuff real quick. So do you follow the news on this kind of like career field, I guess, at all?
um, just a little bit. I mean, I'll listen to an occasional Lewis Rossmann video.
Okay.
Uh, I'm always on YouTube watching something, but I don't get too involved in it. I just kind of do my own thing and don't really worry about what's going on around me a whole lot.
Okay. So recently in the news, Tesla is having problems with the big touchscreen system on it. Not the normal problem of the LCD leaking. It's got a new
Mhm.
problem. The flash memory is failing in them because they're getting old
Right.
enough that the read write cycles are meeting their limit and they're going bad.
Okay.
So Tesla's argument is that, well, this is just normal wear and tear. The chip is lasting as long as it's supposed to. So
Hmm.
that's their argument, and they're trying to push that onto it's the customer's problem to get it fixed because it's a
Well,
normal wear and tear.
is it happening within warranty?
So I don't know the facts on that. I didn't the article didn't mention that I was reading on it. But what it did mention is, so that screen is also how you enable defrost and stuff. So that's a safety
Oh,
feature
gotcha.
there, because you gotta be able to turn on your defrost, or
Yeah.
else that's a national, that's they're stepping in NHSTA or whatever, the National Highway Safety. They're kind of stepping in on this one.
So
And
maybe it should be a recall.
yeah, that's what they're saying is, we might have to do a recall on this. Tesla's arguing, well, this is just normal wear and tear. That flash memory is only supposed to last this long. It has lasted that long. So they're trying to push it off as if it's like servicing brakes. I don't think that's a fair argument, because their fix for it is replacing the entire assembly. It's not to go in and replace that memory.
Well,
Um,
has someone pursued that?
there are one or two people out there doing that repair right now, and that's what I was going to say. Is there's definitely a potential to you would have to really because Tesla's with this Tesla authorized bullshit like Apple, where everything's got to be within their thing. But if
Yeah,
somebody,
yeah.
you could easily make money doing this repair. It's a $7 flash memory that it's just like data recovery where you clone it, put the new chip on there.
Mhm.
Super easy. It would be actually a very easy repair for somebody that knows how to work with BGAs.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a BGA chip, isn't it?
Yes, it is
Ugh.
BGA. It's a BGA flash NAND on there. But still, with the stencil, BGAs are
Well, hopefully if you buy a new chip, it's pre-balled.
yeah, it's that too. The new and they probably are.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's a JTAG connection to get in there to clone it. So Hackaday was talking about it.
All right.
So yeah. Um, so
Sounds like
then
it's up your alley.
yeah, it is. I looked at it and was like, God, I wish I knew somebody with a Tesla.
Yeah.
Was kind of what went on there. I'm definitely interested in reaching out to some of the other people that are more into the Tesla field and be like, yo, do you have a dead unit you could send me to, pull it off? Because it's still sandwiched with that screen in front of it and all of that. So who knows
Well,
how involved it is
I
to get it.
gotta ask, is the software like VIN specific, or can the software, the flash, work on any Tesla of a certain model? Or
Tesla is very locked down with their IP, and where if you try to swap out any module in there, it requires programming. Yeah. So
yeah, I watch Rich rebuilds.
yeah, I was gonna say Rich Rebuilds talks about that a lot, where it's all everything's all software locked pretty much.
Yeah.
So that is one thing you have to consider. There is you're probably gonna have to clone the flash off of it. So hopefully you can get it to work. Stick it in the freezer till it works, right?
I hear that with some phones, yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. So then the next news item, I don't know if you've been seeing it, but I've been seeing, I don't know if it's just because I mostly use Google News. So, algorithms, they feed you
Yeah,
what you like.
yeah, exactly.
I've been seeing a lot of odometer fraud in the news lately, like a lot of it. Am
You
I
must
the
have
only
been
one?
you must have been Googling it. You got put in the algorithm.
Yeah, I've just been seeing a ton of it. That was what I was going to ask. Yeah, I do Google odometer correction a lot to read about how things work. So I figured that's what happened there. I was just curious if I'm the only one or if you're getting that too.
No, I haven't been getting it, but again, I've learned in the past couple of years to kind of ignore news for the
Mm,
most part. I mean, sometimes I'll pay attention to the right to the repair stuff, but even with that, I don't agree 100% with what's kind of being lined up and pushed for that.
hmm.
But you know,
So yeah, I like to force people's hands at open source. So I'd be in that field of you don't agree with, but I get that a lot. A lot of people don't agree with me, and that I'm fine with that. I totally
yeah.
understand it.
I guess the part that bothers me the most with right to repair is when places like Apple will use our government systems to their advantage to make
Hmm.
people criminals that are trying to just order replacement parts. That I'm not okay with.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, that's actually a really good point to bring up. Is that's a big deal. A lot of so I would funny story on that. Did you ever see how OnePlus they sell a AirPod like headphone for the OnePlus
Yeah,
phones? It looks nothing like an AirPod. Looks nothing like it.
yeah.
Customs and Border Patrol seized all of like a huge shipment for OnePlus for the company of their things. It looked nothing like an AirPod. Doesn't say
Yeah, that
AirPod or
bothers
anything.
me. It bothers
Yeah.
me when they use our government resources as their goons,
Mhm.
to take out competition.
Yeah,
That's
and
not right.
that's exactly what that is. That's like the same kind of attacks, like using the government to
Yeah.
get rid of other cell phone
And
manufacturers.
but at the same time, I also don't feel that we should force manufacturers to give up their schematics and tools. I mean, maybe on a volunteer basis, but I just growing up in the generation where you just got to figure it out on your own. You're not getting handed schematics. You got to reverse engineer it. You're on your own to figure it out. I just gotten used to that. I mean, it would be great if we could just contact a manufacturer and get a schematic or tools and stuff. But
I
no,
think
I guess either way, I'm fine. So
so, which I think is really why you get that verbiage of it same. same as what you give to your authorized repair centers has to be available for sale for third-party repair, because their repair centers may not have it. But there are definitely repairs that are done out there in the cell phone world that would require a schematic to do them properly, that
Right.
they obviously are giving that to their repair center. So I think that's really the thing, is not like, hey, you have to give out all your schematics and everything for free. It's, hey, if you're giving it to your authorized repair centers, you should sell it.
Yeah.
And
Well, I think they should offer that information, but not because they're being forced to by a law, but just because it's the right thing to
yeah, it's
do.
ethical. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. I mean, let's try to keep some junk out of the landfill, you know?
Hmm. I think a lot of right to repair would just be dead, if companies would act in a more ethical
Yeah,
manner.
definitely.
Yeah. So yeah, that's really, I think, the big push on right to repair is just, and I don't know if they're doing it out of malice or why. I highly doubt that, though. I don't think that Apple's some evil corporation, out being evil, in my opinion. But
Yeah, it probably starts out of their fear. They probably fear somebody will get a hold of their information and make a better product out of it. Or, I mean, there
mhm.
could be some security issues here and there, but a lot of it's not.
Yeah, it to me, yeah, to me it's really strange because yeah, the argument of like security, it's kind of like, well, how bad is your security that a schematic's going to protect it?
Right.
And then the argument of intellectual property, it's like, well, there's companies in China I can pay, like I mail them the circuit board, they will sand down the layers of circuit board and make me a schematic of it. So
Right. That's just kind of their go-to excuse to get by without having to give us the
yeah,
information we need to fix things.
yeah. So the final news piece, which is definitely more for me, less for you, is the new Raspberry Pi Pico. Have you followed that at all? Uh,
Yeah, been popping up in my feeds.
yeah. So yeah, I think it's a really cool little product. I don't
Mhm.
know if I'm going to jump on the Pico train though, because I don't like boutique microcontrollers, and that's kind of how I look at it. As it's like, yes, I can buy it from a parts distributor, but I don't like Raspberry Pi's whole mentality of, if you're not just using the whole module, you're already failing. That's their model. So like, if you want to use like a Raspberry Pi computer in a final product, they want you to put the whole Raspberry Pi in there. They're like, your project's failing if you're trying to break it down. And I don't like that. I don't think it makes for a good finished product. And that's definitely what they're doing with the Pico. I don't know if you've noticed, it's castellated and everything, so that way
Yep.
you just put it right
Jot
into
it
your
right
project.
down.
Yep.
They're under $5, aren't they?
Oh yeah, $4 a piece. They're super cheap, and it's their own proprietary. Well, it's not really proprietary because everything's like open source, but it's their own silicon. They made it from the chip. It's their own wafer going into that.
How long until there's Chinese knockoffs on eBay?
I don't know if there's a market for it at that price.
Well,
Like
that's
it,
true. It's hard to make. Yeah, it'd be hard to make profit off of something like
Yeah, I don't think we'll see Chinese clones of the Pico, because what's the point? Like the STM32, which is sitting right behind me right
that.
here,
Hmm.
there's a market for that because it's like $20 for a real STM 32, but this one $2 because yeah, and I guarantee you that's not a real ST chip. I bet that's a clone silicon inside there too. Because
Yeah.
it's pretty well documented that these are completely fake from the whole ground, but they work perfectly fine firmware level. So yeah, that STM32 I sent you, yeah, it's a fake.
That
That
this one?
no, that's an Arduino.
Wait, what else did you send me?
The box, the plastic box of parts, the
Oh,
kit. Yeah,
wait,
that's got.
I still got this guy right here. I still haven't used this yet. The
Oh
data
yeah,
logger.
that is the ST link for the STM32.
Oh, that's right.
Uh,
Now I remember what you're talking about now. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. The tool or the educational box. Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Now I know.
yeah, it's from that. So there's a fake STM32 in there,
Okay.
but for the price that I wanted to get the educational boxes with, that's what I had to do.
Yeah.
They work. So, do you have any projects going on?
Always. It never
Always.
ends. Yeah. Right now I'm looking at some let's see what we got here. See if I can get it. Probably can't really tell. In the corner of my office, I have a bin from a local computer repair shop. I got a buddy that works at a computer repair shop. So sometimes I get their overflow that requires component level repair. But a
Okay.
lot of times I get their rejects of electronics that they have given up on,
Mhm.
and they're ready to. I'm like the last guy in the chain. So like before it hits the trash can, I end up with it. So I have like 3 PS3s, an Xbox 360, a couple Xbox Ones just from him. And then I've got some of my own other projects I'm working on too.
Yeah.
Oh well, I got one of the projects I'm working on is kind of a long story. A few months back, I was watching a video on a adapter for the original Xbox, the original, the OG, and it was to use a 360 controller.
Mhm.
And I thought that was cool. And then James at the PCB guy, Next PCB,
Mhm.
he's like, "Hey, you got any boards that he made?" So I'm like, "Yeah, how about this one here?" And I went to the guy's GitHub and sent him the Gerber. So I'm gonna build my own adapters to use a 360 controller on an Xbox, the original Xbox. So that's you'll see a video on that as soon as I get the parts situated.
Just so you know, James got fired. He doesn't work there anymore.
No way.
Yeah, so I'll if you have trouble getting a hold of the new
Huh.
he's like Jamal or something like that. If you have trouble getting hold of him, he emailed me through James's email like, "Hey, James no longer is with us."
Oh,
I don't know if he got fired or if he quit, but yeah, James does not work. Hey, speaking of Next PCB, I have
yeah, I
their
see you got the
box
box
sitting
right
in the
there.
background there.
So I wonder if I've kind of fallen off their radar then, because there's a while there where James was asking me how my project was going because he's waiting for me to make the video.
Mhm.
But I ran into some problems with parts because I got the board. The guy that invented this adapter was in the middle of changing from one board revision to another board revision,
Mhm.
and I kind of caught him right in the middle. So I ended up ordering the bill of material for the old board, but trying to make it work on the new board. Anyways,
Ah.
so it's taking me longer than I wanted. So I was kind of wondering if James was twiddling his thumbs, wondering what's taking me so long to make this video for him.
No, you got him fired. So he
All
sent
right.
some free
Yeah,
PCBs to somebody that didn't make a video, and
yeah, I must have got him in trouble.
no, which was he also he got bit by a cat, so maybe he died. So he had a long delay in emailing me back, and then he's like, "Hey,
Okay.
sorry, I was in the hospital. A cat bit me."
All right. Jeez, must have got cat scratch fever.
I don't know. It was weird. I thought the story sounded fake, but I thought it was funny. I was like,
Oh,
but yeah. So yeah, James does not work at Next PCB anymore.
interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I liked working with him though, because he's always like my dude and stuff.
Yeah. Huh.
um,
Well, maybe I'm off the hook for making this video then.
yeah. Well, now Jamal's gonna see this and be like, "Oh, I gotta email this other
Yeah.
guy."
Yeah.
um, but speaking of weird phone calls or emails, I've been getting there's a new scam going on right now. Scam phone calls. You know how like the IRS phone calls are.
I
That
get
they're
I get a lot for car warranties.
yeah, there's a new one. It's Border Patrol has seized a package.
Oh,
And I have a package that's literally in customs right now. So when I got the phone call, it freaked me out. I
yeah.
got it like 15 minutes before we started doing this. It freaked me out for a second there. I was like, okay, I do have a package in customs. So I looked it up and was like, oh, this is a scam call. Cool.
So what was your giveaway that it was fake? Was
Oh,
he?
well, because it was a voicemail and it said that we seized a package that contains drugs or money. And I was like, this sounds fake. Let me look
Mm.
this up. Because they wouldn't tell you. They would just show up and arrest you. They're not going to tell you
Oh,
that they seized a
yeah.
package. So I was like, oh, that's probably a scam. Then I looked up. I was like, oh, yeah, definitely a scam. So that was it for it.
What about
Um,
projects for yourself?
Okay, projects for myself. So I'm sure you caught the video on it of the do-it-yourself. Oh yeah,
Oh
I know
yeah.
you did. Yeah, because you commented on it. So the do-it-yourself thing is gigantic. I've killed this revision. It's already on the next revision of it. So I'm going to use an STM32 with instead of using this ST293, which is a Darlington transistor array for running the stepper motor, I'm using a DVR 8833, which is MOSFET based. So it's like tiny in comparison, which will help me bring down the package size. And it's also way more energy efficient. So, I
Yeah.
mean, we're not running this off a battery, so I'm really not too concerned with energy efficiency on here. But I am concerned with package size to try to make the whole project smaller. And then, yeah, I'm going to do CAN bus for it. I know I said in all of my design of it that I wasn't going to do CAN bus. My original plan was to just use SPI to communicate, because what I'm doing is having a master controller to control like a bunch of gauge pods. So that way you can like make your own instrument clusters or whatever.
Okay.
Everything's going to be open source so people can do their own things with it. And I wasn't going to do.
See this being used in the classic cars.
Yes, that's kind of, I want to make it fit the same style housing as like a what are the like auto beater kind of things, like
All right.
going for that size kind of
Well,
pod.
if it's small enough, you could probably retrofit it within like an original dashboard cluster of some 50s car or something.
Yes, and that's what I want to also put the schematics out open source too, so that way people can do that, can just redesign it all to fit into whatever package they want.
But now, what if their vehicle doesn't have? What if it's just a carbureted car? There's no.
That's the so that is why the controller is separate from the pod. Like, so the pods are all their own thing, and all is what they do is they step to where they're told to step to, and they turn on lights when they're told to turn on lights. And then there's going to be a master board that has analog in pins that you can program, so that way you can read your oil pressure, your temperature, and all of that, make it all open source. But yeah, I wasn't going to do CAN bus to talk to it because I'm terrible at CAN bus. It's just like the bane of my existence. But I went on the Arduino forum and was like, hey, this is my plan. I'm going to do SPI to communicate with all these different pods. And they're like, you're an idiot. Don't do that. And they made me feel bad about myself. So I'm doing CAN bus now.
Well, hey, that reminds me. We never stop learning.
Yeah, I've tried to do CAN bus multiple times, but I've only tried to make it work with GM-LAN. And GM-LAN just sucks.
Well, like I said before, if you ever get around to Chrysler, I need looking for a
LIN
tester
bus.
for LIN bus. It looked like it's a communication built under the main communication that doesn't even seem to break out at the OBD2 port. I don't know. I kind
It
of gave up.
doesn't. So it normally doesn't. I did some research into it after you mentioned it, and I actually happened to, like, it was like the day after you mentioned it, I was listening to what's the name of the podcast? Not the Spark Gap. That one's dead. The Amp Hour. I was listening to the Amp Hour podcast, and they were talking about Internet of Things, and they talked about LIN bus in general on it too, because they had one of the guys who used to work at Tesla. So he was like, yeah, we have CAN bus for all these important systems.
Stuff. Yeah.
And then we turn on and off the lights with LIN bus because it's super easy. It's like what they were saying. Like LIN bus
wasn't it? There's like no licensing fees or royalties or something.
Yeah, that's
when you use LIN bus. Like,
yeah, LIN bus doesn't have any licensing. I don't think CAN bus does either. So yeah. I mean, yeah, licensing saves a lot of money on bill of materials too. Like, so this STM32, part of the reason why it's so expensive is because they have to pay an ARM license every time, because it's an ARM based chip in there. So yeah, ARM's licensing really drives up the cost of your bill of material. There's a lot that goes into design that I've been learning recently as I've been working on design. You like start to think about that you wouldn't normally think about. If you haven't checked out, if you like podcasts, you should check out the Amp Hour, because it's got like Dave from EEVblog on there like half the time, and then they have the guy from Contextual Electronics on there, and they just talk engineering things, and
so a good program, just leave it run in the background.
Exactly how I do
it. Dave gets a little long-winded in some of his videos. I like to make quick to the point videos. It's the videos I like to watch, I guess. So ones that go on unnecessarily long, I don't always like. But
see, I'm a big fan of like Bin Eater and stuff like that, where it's like an hour-long video. So I guess I make what I like to watch too. I like to get into the nuances and stuff, but also I just talk slow. Everybody tells me I talk slow. I'm like, oh, sorry, I'm a Southerner.
Normal to me, but then again, I'm from Minnesota, so things are a little slower here. So
yeah. And you'll like a lot of cheese up there.
You're thinking Wisconsin, but yeah.
Oh yeah, that's Wisconsin. Oh yeah.
We just do goulash and hot dish here.
Oh yeah. Potatoes and and snow. That's what y'all have. Potatoes and snow.
Snow, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, that really covered most of the stuff I wrote down. But I also was ill prepared. Um,
Yeah, I know it's kind of a last minute. Let's go ahead and do it kind of a thing.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I'd really be interested in getting other technicians on here. Um, and just hearing, their stories, their business stories. I love hearing people's business stories of like,
Yeah,
like who was your worst customer ever and stuff like that. The nightmare stories are always my favorite too.
yeah,
So
yeah. Usually to avoid the angry or upset customers, I have no problem like just giving someone a refund
yeah.
or telling them to just send it back and go through it again. So I usually kind of find ways. I haven't really had any bad experiences um, that I can think of. I mean, every once in a while you run into a problem customer, but I guess I knew going into this business that you can't win them all. You're
Mhm.
not going to win. You're not going to get 100% satisfaction 100% of the time. So turns out all right.
Just out of curiosity, what do you think about the supply side of this business? Would you ever consider doing that? Nah, same.
I just like fixing things. I mean, there's definitely a business opportunity if somebody wanted to sell parts, like gauge bases and needle kits and besides different motors and bulbs and stuff. But I just like fixing stuff, so I never really got into the parts. I'll sell an EEPROM every now and then for someone to fix an odometer error, but
Mhm.
I don't know. I just like fixing stuff, so I never pursued that. How about yourself?
Oh, I would absolutely never do it. The margins are too thin.
Exactly. Yeah,
And
it's a lot of messing around for not a whole lot of money, but
yeah, yeah, it's really a business thing for me of why I would never do it because I like to bring like the best product possible. So I know I would enjoy it if I could bring the best product possible. But just the margins are just I don't understand how anyone does it because you get people that scam all the time too.
mhm,
So especially in our field, I think there's a lot of really shady guys that are just getting started
yeah,
out, and they'll charge a charge back on an order of 100 stepper motors.
yeah.
Small order of stepper motors to me, but to them they're just getting started out, so that's like a huge order to them. And
And
so
that's why I've never offered my services on eBay.
yes, I've never offered my services on eBay either.
It's competitive and not very personal, but um, with the protection program, they really favor the buyers, which is a
Mhm.
good thing. But I've just never been desperate enough to want to sell my services on eBay. Too competitive there.
Same. I've never touched it. Plus, every nightmare story you ever hear about
They
repair
come from
technicians,
eBay.
it came from eBay.
Yes,
So I don't want to be
every
lumped in with them
exactly,
either. I
exactly.
don't. I don't want somebody to go, oh, this guy does eBay repairs. He must be one of those scammers.
Yeah,
So because I've probably in the last year sold 4 instrument clusters to people that sent them to eBay and never got theirs back. So
right.
I,
Yeah,
I think
it's not fair to lump them all together, but you
it's
did
oh, it's
have a
not. It's
yeah,
absolutely not.
yeah.
But people do lump them all together. But yeah, like Todd's on there, and he does excellent work. So
Mhm.
yeah. So you can't lump them all together.
Now, Todd, isn't he in
Supply.
Wisconsin?
Yeah. I think he is in Wisconsin.
Okay. Yeah, I think I've seen his name. Actually, I wonder if he was the same guy that was advertising on Craigslist the same time I was. I always remember bumping into one other guy, and I think it was in Wisconsin.
Yeah, Todd Haynes. He sells
Okay.
parts too. He's got the parts business. He's I think one of the guys that does parts distribution. He resells all the SCDDT stuff at like
Yeah.
100% markup. Um,
Yeah, there's
so
some good profits to be made there for somebody that wants to do that sort of thing. Yeah.
yeah, I I think that the SCDDT inlays are great at their price from SCDDT.
With uh yeah, with their faces, they have been slowly improving them.
They have been improving them. Yeah.
Uh, the they call it the Type A, but the basic OEM
Mhm.
gas engine trans that face has gotten better over time. It's always the backlighting illumination that they
Yeah.
struggled with, but their newest revisions are actually pretty good.
Yeah. That I noticed that it was probably a year ago when they did that revision. Yeah, they significantly improved them. They still have. I don't know if you've ever noticed it. Have you noticed it that the orange portion is faded intentionally? It's not. it's not orange throughout, and it's like they scanned an original one to do their design, and it was faded from being old, and they never like color corrected that. I wish they would fix it. It bothers me. It drives me crazy that it's faded.
Does it look more red? Maybe
I got them.
too
Let me
bright.
grab one.
Maybe
Let
it's
me
too
grab one.
bright. Yeah.
All right, let's see. Oh, by the way, let me grab this other one. Oh, no, they did change it because they now are red. I'm looking at one
Okay.
right now. They changed it again. Oh, they fixed it. Never mind.
Hmm.
Okay, they fixed it. They fixed it in their latest revision. The one
Yeah.
I got 6 months ago, I was looking at. But have you seen this new one?
I did. I saw it and I decided to not order it. It's a little bit
Oh,
too political for me. So
it's too ridiculous. I had to order one. I ordered it because it is the most ridiculous looking thing I've ever seen.
exactly. I'm sure somebody will want it. I did order a couple of the blue ones and the orange ones, and
Mhm.
they seem all right. But I definitely did see that one, and I'm not going for it.
This one is very impractical. So let me get it out of the case so you can actually look at it. You'll see why it's not practical at all here once you look at
I
it.
wonder why they picked a red stripe. You think it was just
I think it's just random because it's
like,
China.
yeah, they
Uh,
just they didn't know they just
if if it
picked
was
a
a
random color and threw it in.
Yeah, if it was American, I would say, like I would say it's politically charged if it had the blue line for
Yes.
obvious reasons. But since it's a red line, either they like firefighters because that's the firefighter
Yeah,
motto,
yeah.
or it was just random. But notice the stars around the numbers. Like that's super busy. Like it'd be like really hard to
A lot of them are
actually.
going to be covered up by the bezel anyways.
Yeah, true. A lot of them are going to be covered, but yeah, you have like stars right where the numbers are, and it's like really
Yeah.
busy. But I still had to order one. I was like $25. I'm gonna order one just because.
No, somebody will love it.
Yeah, I wanted it just to laugh at, to be honest.
And it is Chinese New Year right now, I guess. So if you have any parts on the way, they're going to be slow at delivering.
Yes, I have payment on the way from next PCB. They owe me money, but that's delayed because of Chinese New Year's. Just for that video I did. So yeah, and I did have parts, but luckily I knew Chinese New Year's was coming up, so I ordered them in advance, so that way that wouldn't happen. And they're
Yeah.
just sitting in customs right now. So my
Okay.
shipment of drugs is stuck in customs right now.
Yeah, they're trying to get a hold of you about that.
Yeah, they've been trying to get a hold of me about it.
Well,
Uh,
any more questions?
no, I think that really covers the questions. It definitely covers all the questions I'd planned.
How long have we been going now?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't even been paying attention. Let me take a look. I have been recording at least let's
Our
see.
our audience might be asleep by now.
Oh, we're at 45 minutes.
Holy crap. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I thought Zoom killed you after 20 minutes if you don't have a paid thing, or did they change that? I don't have a paid account with them. My account's
Maybe
free.
it's a pandemic special.
Yeah, yeah. So, hey, well, this will be the pandemic special video. So the social distanced
There you go.
recording. So next time you're in Florida, we can do a non-social distanced interview.
Well, that is in the works. I am going to be making it to Florida one of these days.
Okay.
Family trip. Keep on talking about it. So
Yeah, most people that go on family trips though go to the other side of Florida. They go over to Orlando.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm by Alabama, so
Okay.
I'm on the other side.
All right.
I've been trying to get the Art of Repair to come down to Florida too, because he goes to Georgia all the time. So
To
I'm
say, I
like,
thought he was in China now or something.
no. That was he was in China. He came back right before the pandemic and then decided not to go back down there because of political things. I think was what he said. He covered why he didn't go back, but yeah, he's come back to the United States. He does not have a repair business anymore. He's strictly teaching people how to do this stuff, and he's teaching people how to do cell phone repair for free. It's really cool, actually, what he's doing. So basically what he's done is he's turned to all of the tool supply vendors and been like, hey, you need to sell tools. I need to teach people, pay for the classes, and I'll teach people. And he's only turning to vendors that are reputable, like he wants to sell those tools, and going like, hey, pay for these classes because I'm going to feature your tools in the class. Um,
Well, he does make a good teacher.
Yeah, he's an excellent teacher. So okay.
Oh, you're back.
Yeah, my Wi-Fi completely dropped off of my computer for a second there. Well, I guess that is the hint. They're turning off the lights, saying you need to end this. You need to end this. It's like when you stayed in the restaurant for too long and they start flashing the lights.
All right. Well, hey, let's try to set this up again, and hopefully we can get some volunteers to jump on board.
Absolutely, that'd be the optimum thing there is if we could get some people in there that way we can ask them questions and see what they're doing.
Well, yeah, and maybe the commenters on this video can let us know what they'd like to hear us ramble on about.
Yeah, that'd be great. You know who I would be interested in getting on here? Oh shoot, what's his name? The guy that made the little thing tester that you have in your last video.
Yep. I got one. I got it right here. My giveaway is going to end. Someone's going to have this next week, and yeah, it'll work good for someone. He's working on building some more of these. I don't know if you saw how many comments I got on that video, but there must be well over 100 people that are interested in it. Of course, it's for free, so they're more interested in the free part. But.
Yeah. Do you know the price point for them?
I never asked him. I've never asked him. I
$300.
Okay.
He sent me one. It's on the way. Now there's plans to integrate more into it at that price point, though. It's not you're not getting just that.
Well, if he can send an assortment of plug-in pigtails,
and that is part of the plan there,
I could see that would help with the cost.
It
probably doesn't need the remote control, but you know.
Yeah. That's what I'm looking forward to getting it, so that way I can give him some feedback of, hey, cut some cost here and add some cost there. So that's kind of my part of getting one, is to look at it and be like, hey, let's shove an Arduino in it and do this with it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, let's do that. How about the next video we can talk about tools? I bet I could talk about tools all day.
Yeah.
And also, just before I forget, I do have a cameo coming up in the One Road channel. I don't know if you ever heard of Jimmy. He runs the channel called One Road. So keep your eyes peeled for that.
Will do. I will.
He's a Chevy guy. He's got a Suburban and Envoy and another Chevy vehicle. His YouTube channel is all about Chevy. So
okay. So all right. Well, let's wrap this up. And I definitely I hope you enjoyed being on. Hopefully my questions were not too random for you. All right.
We'll do it again.
All right, sounds good. Well, I'll catch you in the next one, and hopefully our viewers enjoyed the video, and see them in the next video also.
Okay.
All right. Bye.